Hey turtle nerds, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about how to keep turtles affordably. I was running through like 3 different scenarios for videos. I was trying to think of what to make today's video about. And then I was thinking back to some things that some patrons were asking me, and they're asking, you know, how do I make things affordable? So I wanted to go over today how to do just that. If you guys are unaware, if you want like direct input on the videos that I put out, because I listen to y'all, you can click the link right up over, where's it gonna be? You can hit the link right up over here, I think it's gonna be, and head over to my Patreon where you can support me. You can get early access to these videos, and also you get like, you can talk to me directly. I'll answer all of your turtle-based questions, and also I sometimes have turtles available. I just shipped out 3 terrapins yesterday, and they went out to new homes. Nope. Oh, I thought that was something falling. It was just a little plushy turtle. Look, this thing just fell. Look at it. And then if I'm in a bad mood, I can just angry turk. I'm gonna stick that right here. Things to make keeping turtles affordable. So ever since I was younger, I was doing all my research on turtles and keeping them and whatnot, and I was finding out that you can totally cut some corners, but there are things that you gotta splurge on. So I'm hoping to show you today like 5 different things that I think are super important and ways that you can mitigate costs for keeping your turtles. Sometimes this doesn't matter if you're, you know, a normal human and you just have like 1 or 2 or 5 turtles, but when you're like me and you have like 40, you kind of have to do things a little differently. The number one thing that I'm gonna talk about that I think that you guys can save money on is the enclosure itself, especially for hatchlings. Actually, even when they get larger. I understand why everyone uses aquariums, but my most popular video is literally about why I don't like aquariums. So just to like reiterate that real quick, tanks are heavy, they're fragile, they can smash, they're expensive. I think that's most of them. They're fragile, they're expensive, they're heavy as nuts, they run a fairly good risk. I mean, that's what I mean when I say fragile, of cracking and stuff. I guess that's kind of it. I guess that's it, but those are 3 like really big things, especially the cost. When you're starting with smaller tanks, like check it, right down here, all right, I have a 20-gallon aquarium, cost me like 25-30 bucks. That's not terrible, but when you start to upgrade, as we're gonna see in the garage, things can get expensive real quickly. So if you're not wanting to use something heavy and like somewhat expensive like the aquarium down here, this is a concrete mixing tub that I got from Home Depot for like $15. These things are, I love them. They're a godsend. They are incredible, and I use them, as you can see, pretty much everywhere in this little rack system. I got one down there, one over here, and they come in 2 different sizes. So you can use the smaller one for your smaller hatchlings, and then upgrade to one that's larger when they start growing up. Here's a perfect example. The water level is low right now, apologies, but when your turtles are little fellas, like this little guy, this one is just about ready to be upgraded. But when they're still small or hatchlings, you can keep them in the smaller concrete mixing tub, which is even cheaper than the large one. This holds about 10 or 15 gallons when it's, you know, just about full. And then when you upgrade, like up here, I have some of my ornate diamondback terrapins. They are getting to be a nice size, and this is like the perfect size tub for them. It's nice, it's spacious, it's not too deep, so there's a very low chance and risk of drowning. And yeah, overall, I mean, I really, really, really love these concrete mixing tubs. Yeah, I've got one literally on the floor, down there, here, everywhere. Even in the garage, I have one. So that's a way that you can save some money, because here's the thing. These turtles, if raised properly, will outgrow a 20-gallon aquarium within 6 months. Easily, they will outgrow it like that. 6 months is not a long time for them to already outgrow something that you're spending $25, $35 on. The issue also is voice crack. Why am I in middle school? When you upgrade a little bit further, like these guys could probably go into like a 40-gallon or something like that. They, in that transitional period from hatchling to like sub-adult or adult, when they're 3-4 inches, just like these guys here, that's like the perfect time that people will put them in a 40-gallon tank, but they outgrow that so quickly. Within the first year to year and a half, you will run through a 10-gallon, a 20-gallon, and then a 40-gallon tank. So now you've spent, what is it, $15 on a 10-gallon, $25 to $35 on a 20. Even if you're doing Petco's $1 a gallon sale, that's 40, 20, 10, that's $70. 40, 20, 10, yeah, I do math. That you just don't have to spend, especially if you, like, because you can just get these tubs, and you could probably just get the big one right off the bat, fill it up a couple of inches for your hatchling, and then later on down the line, you can fill it up the rest of the way. I love tubs. Speaking of, let's go in the garage. So now let's say, all right, you kept your turtles in those concrete mixing tubs. They're 5 to 6 inches now. What the heck do you upgrade to? Now I need an aquarium, right? 75 gallons, 125 gallons. And those tanks are not cheap because those are not part of the $1 a gallon sale. I think they're a minimum like $120 for 75, unless you find it on Craigslist. And even then you can't trust it. Tanks are dumb. I don't like them. I have one, but it's just for show. So what do? You go to Tractor Supply, hear me out, and you look at the stock tanks. They're horse troughs, literally horse troughs. Check this out. If you're really wanting to provide for your turtle and you're gonna take up the space with a 75-gallon tank or something bigger, you can actually make a really good looking mini pond in your, house, apartment, wherever you may be. This fella, check it out there, 110 gallons. Kids you ate yesterday, stop the drama. It is 110 gallons. I got this for $80, and this is 110 gallons. This is ideal for some larger juveniles, the ornates that are inside. I'm gonna move to this shortly. Also, adults. You could house at least, 1 to 2, maybe 3 adult turtles in here. If we're talking sliders, an adult female, perhaps 2 if they get along, or a couple of juvenile terrapins, and that's just 1 adult male, but Pancake doesn't count because he's little. You can house a fair number of turtles in something for $84, $85. That's to me, one of the #1 things that you can do to save some money, and it doesn't have to look bad. So as we know, you have the enclosure, you have a heater, you have a filter. The heaters, guys, honestly, there's no real way around this. You gotta just splurge. I buy the Eheim Jaegers. I'm not sponsored, but I can be. On these fellas, you just gotta get them. Also on the bulb, there is a way to save money. If you get your turtles outside, you get them access to natural sunlight, they do not need a heat lamp. Now, this is only if they have access during the day at all times to the sun. Taking your turtle outside to get some natural rays, which is awesome, you should definitely do that, but taking them outside just to get some natural sunlight does not replace the need for a basking bulb. If this entire enclosure I threw some chicken wire and took outside, then I don't need a basking light. A lot of people can't do that though, so that's not why I'm talking about it for a long time. Actually, the next thing we do need to go inside. As I mentioned, you need a heater, you need a filter, you need a light for your turtles. That's just the basics. But you can save some money on filters by being a little crafty, and you can build your own. The most expensive part of a filter is the pump. If you go to a garage sale, you go on Craigslist, you go on eBay, you go somewhere online, and you find yourself a fat little 400 gallon an hour pump, you can build yourself a nice filter out of that pump. I have built many a filter in my lifetime. I've made some using 5-gallon drums. I've made some using 55-gallon drums and scaled things up really high for my pond. Once I have a turtle enclosure that's above 55 gallons, I build my own filter because it's just no longer worth purchasing one. Unless in the garage, I was gifted that canister filter. But even then, I re-rigged it using one of my own pumps to filter that system. So right here, if you click the link right up over here, you can see how I built this filter right here for these juvenile terrapins, which are all looking beautiful, by the way. But yeah, I built the filter. All it really needs, guys, the whole point of the filter is just a pump that is pushing water through, somehow forcing water through some type of filter material. The filter material also I save money on because Whisper sells their little filter pads here. I don't buy those things. I use that in the back that's sticking out. Sorry, this filter's overflowing. I need to clean it. But that stuff is $4 for a massive bag of 100% polyester from Walmart. You use that, and I use activated carbon in something like a sock or tied up in some type of water permissible bag, some type of bag that water can go through, and that's pretty much all you need. The bacteria can grow on the carbon that you have. The carbon will also take out the smell. Maybe you put 1 or 2 bio balls in there, which are for bacteria to grow, and you put the filter floss. That will make your water nice. And this is not a good example. Up here's a better example, nice and clear. I also need to clean this enclosure. My apologies. I should have picked a better day to film. But anyway, you can save money not only on your filter, but on your filter material. You get that filter floss, from the pet store. It's gonna be $14, $15, something like that. You go to Walmart, you get 100% polyester or quilt and batting. I use both in this enclosure. That's gonna rock you $6. maybe 8. Even the filters that I do buy, like this little fella, I pimp them out and I stuff them with extra filter material, like that stuff that I was talking about, just to get the most use out of my filters. So long as you make some way for water to pass quickly over that type of material, that's your filter. That's perfect. If it works, it works. And this thing works. So those are the main, like, number 2, kind of 3 ways that I save money. You know, keeping them outside so I don't have to run lights all the time. Keeping your turtles outdoors during the warmer months also means that you don't have to run heaters. You don't have the cost of running a heater. Literally outdoors during the summer months, in my opinion, is the best thing. So you don't have to pay for a heat lamp. You don't have to pay for a heater. All you have to do is run a filter on that bad boy and you're set. So one of the final things that we're gonna talk about that people drop a ton of money on are decorations for their turtle enclosures. Louis, what's the matter? Now, I have a pond, and so they don't exactly sell driftwood and caves and things large enough for a pond. They do, but it's like, oh, I've seen like large pieces of driftwood for like upwards of $300. So I want to show you guys how you can cut costs a little bit and save on that. So all of the things that I have in this turtle pond, I have built or found out, you know, wherever. I have spent all of $0 on driftwood, and look at all the stuff that I have here. There's this big fat piece that I have right there. There's one right there that I got at my school down in Florida, and this one that I found on the beach as well. Not only that, but I also have this giant stump. Look at the size of this thing. I have this massive stump right here, and I got this thing from the side of the road, and now I have that long arm that reaches out into the pond and acts as a basking area. So that driftwood and whatnot can not only be a place for, you know, some feeder fish to hide for your turtles to interact with, but they also make really good basking areas. Especially right here, I have this nice long and flat piece that the turtles love to use, you know, when it's not 40 degrees out. In smaller enclosures, it's even easier going out and finding yourself, you know, a nice piece of wood like that. I have a piece of wood in my spotted turtle enclosure that I found walking back from work one day back in Florida. Different things that you can do just to look around, you know, find some pieces of slate, maybe you find some bricks or whatever. You guys can do a ton to help cut down and save on costs. It's so annoying because like they charge so much for driftwood. Literally, if you find like a branch of a hardwood tree, like an oak tree especially, you can just like wait a while or use it in your enclosure. The bark will strip off over time, and then you got yourself a nice piece of driftwood. And if you really want to cut costs, you can just use a non-pressure treated piece of 2x4. Yes, it will rot in the water over the course of like 5 to 10 years. And by that point, like, you got your use out of it. It was like a $10 2x4 that you used. You had it for how many years? You got your use out of it. So those are just a couple of ways that I personally do. And, you know, just overall helping you guys to just spend less on your turtles. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already so I can continue to feed these little fellas. I appreciate you all, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye. Say goodbye, little one.